Last week we looked at every Premier League club's biggest defeat, and this time we're going to do the same with the Championship. England's second tier was rebranded in 2004 from the First Division to the Championship, and we're only going to look at results from that season onwards, so let's get cracking. Aston Villa 3-0 and 4-1. One of the biggest clubs in the division, Villa don't have a lot of Championship experience, with this being their third season in it since relegation. They've never been beaten by more than 3 goals in the Championship, losing 3-0 to Brentford, Cardiff and Wigan, as well as 4-1 to Sheffield United earlier this season. While they haven't returned to the Premier League yet, at least they haven't been embarrassed in the Championship. Birmingham 8-0. Speaking of embarrassed, this wasn't a good result at all for Villa's rivals Birmingham. The hammering came in 2014 when Bournemouth were taking the Championship by storm, and they put 8 past the Blues at St Andrews. They went down to 10 men early on, and the Cherries put Birmingham to the sword with Mark Pugh getting a hat-trick. Blackburn 4-0. Blackburn are also a club that don't have too much Championship history, having been a Premier League regular until 2012, and then they also dipped into League One briefly. But in the second tier, their biggest defeat is 4-0, and it's happened twice. The first was against Watford in April 2013, and the second was surely much tougher to take, losing 4-0 to Bolton, who were considered as local rivals. Bolton 6-0 and 7-1. Bolton are back again, but this time it's them who are on the end of a hammering, and a much bigger one. They've suffered 3 6-goal defeats in the Championship, losing 6-0 to Hull this season and to Bristol City in March 2016, and they've also shipped 7 goals, losing 7-1 to Reading in January 2014, with David Ngog getting 88th minute consolation for the Trotters. Brentford 5-0. The Bees have climbed the divisions and became an established Championship outfit, and they haven't been battered too many times since reaching the second tier. Their biggest defeat came in December 2016 when newly relegated Norwich put 5 past them at Carrow Road. Bristol City 6-0. The Robins are one of the Championship's in-form sides, and their biggest defeat actually came quite a while ago. Their most recent hiding was in 2010, losing 6-0 to Cardiff at home, and before that you've got to go back to 2007 when Ipswich put 6 past them at Portman Road, with Jonathan Walters getting a hat-trick. Derby County 6-1 and 5-0. Frank Lampard's Derby County's biggest loss was a 4-1 defeat to Leeds, but back when they were simply known as Derby County, they lost by 5-goal margins on 3 occasions. Cardiff were at it again in 2009, winning 6-1, just like Coventry City did in January 2006. And also in 2006 in the same season, Reading won 5-0. 2006 was a bad year for Derby County. Hull City 5-0. While 2006 was a bad year for Derby, 2017 was a bit better, as they gave Hull their biggest ever Championship defeat, which is an honour I'm sure they were always looking to achieve. It was a rough start to last season for Hull, but at least now they look to have gotten things going again. Ipswich Town 6-0 and 7-1. The Championship's bottom club, it looks like Ipswich could be heading to League One next season, where they could face the 2 teams who handed them their biggest ever Championship defeats. Blackpool beat Ipswich 6-0 in August 2012, and a year earlier it was Peterborough who battered the Tractor Boys, winning a whopping 7-1. Leeds United 6-0. Marcelo Bielsa's side are riding high as they compete to win promotion at the Premier League, and a heavy defeat like the one they suffered in January 2014 could really derail their promotion charge. The Whites got a hiding off another Yorkshire side, losing 6-0 to Sheffield Wednesday, with Leeds playing most of the second half with just 10 men after Matt Smith sending off. Middlesbrough 5-0. Under Tony Pulis, Borough don't get hammered. I mean, they barely score either. But before Tony Pulis was in the dugout, Borough's biggest Championship defeat was a 5-0 humiliation at the Riverside. It was a Middlesbrough Academy graduate who did the damage for West Brom, with Chris Brunt putting the Baggies 2-0 up with a brace. Millwall 6-0. The team that everyone loves to hate, Millwall's biggest Championship defeat came in January 2012, when Birmingham City put them to the sword. The game was a disaster for Millwall, ending it with 9 men, with bad boy Marlon King getting a brace and a young Nathan Redmond wrapping things up in stoppage time. Norwich City 5-0. My initial thought was that the Canaries' biggest defeat was 7-1 to Colchester United, but no, that game was in League One. So when it comes to the Championship, Norwich haven't lost by more than a 5-goal margin, but it has happened twice. The first was Stoke back in 2006, then it happened again a decade later, but this time it was Brighton who got amongst the goals. Nottingham Forest 6-0. Forest are a team that can't seem to get out of the Championship, other than that time they were in League One. Their biggest defeat came in March 2005, losing 6-0 to Ipswich. The Tractor Boys have showed up a few times in this video so far. A young Darren Bent got on the score sheet that day, as well as the legendary Chef Kikuchi. Preston North End 5-0. A solid outfit in the second tier, Preston have lost 5-0 twice as a championship side, and the first was way back in the first season of the division's existence. Wigan won 5-0 in December 2004, and the next final defeat would come 12 years later against a rampant Brentford side. Queen's Park Rangers 7-1 and 6-0. One of QPR's biggest defeats came this season, losing 7-1 to West Brom when it looked like the R's were in peril. Dwight Gale got on the score sheet, and his parent club Newcastle gave QPR their other biggest defeat, as the Magpies dismantled them at Loftus Road to win 6-0, in a game where even Grant Hanley scored. Reading 7-1. The Royals are the final team in this video to concede 7 goals in a championship game, doing so against Norwich in April 2017, where they were 4-0 down after 31 minutes. Amazingly, Reading still reached the championship playoff final that season, ending it just a penalty shootout away from the Premier League. Rotherham United 5-0. You'd have thought that Rotherham would have been beat by more than 5 goals, they've never finished higher than 21st in the championship. But no, their biggest loss is by just 5, I say just 5, it's still not a good result, but it's happened twice, losing 5-0 to Cardiff in 2017, then to Wolves in 2015. Sheffield United 4-0 and 5-1. The Blades are aiming for promotion this season, and they need to avoid a 4-goal hammering like they've had in the past. On 4 different occasions, Sheffield United have lost by 4 goals to 4 different teams. Ipswich won 5-1, then Wigan, Scunthorpe and Swansea all won by 4 goals to 0. Sheffield Wednesday 6-0. Sadly for the Owls, they've got a heavier biggest defeat than their rivals United. Wednesday lost 6-0 back in 2008 to Reading, with Kevin Doyle bagging a hat-trick. Those were the real glory days, back when Kevin Doyle had the golden touch in front of goal. Stoke City 3-0. This is just Stoke's 6th season as a championship club, having suffered relegation last season. The Pods have been a moderately tough nut to crack in the second tier, never losing more than 3-0, but it has happened quite a few times, losing 3-0 to Wigan, QPR, Colchester, Cardiff twice, Hull, Watford and Preston, so maybe they aren't that tough a nut to crack. Swansea City 4-0 and 5-1. Swansea have even less championship experience than Stoke, as they had to climb all the way from League 2. Swansea's heavy defeats came in their first championship stint, losing 4-0 to Reading in 2008, then in 2010 they lost 5-1 to Blackpool, then 4-0 to QPR. Will they better it or worsen it this season? West Brom 4-1. The original yo-yo club, West Brom have always been competing near the top of the championship when they've been in it, so they don't often get battered. Twice they've lost 4-1, to Leicester City in 2008, then again this season to Frank Lampard's Derby County. And finally Wigan 4-0. The Latlicks also don't have a lot of championship experience, and their biggest defeat came this season to Preston North End. Wigan played most of the game with 10 men after Darren Gibson's red card, but I suppose it's not the worst thing he's ever done. So that's every championship club's biggest ever defeat. Let us know what you think in the comments, thanks for watching and don't forget to like, share and subscribe.